Hello everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining me today. Today's just a fun craft along with me video. I'm sitting at my desk thinking of the things I need to finish, and I've been obsessed lately by making journal covers. So I've built a few here, and I have this obsession where I like to make the covers first, and then eventually I get to filling the journal. The problem with that is you end up with a significant amount of unfinished journals. But that's okay, because sometimes you're just in the mood to mass make things. You know, you don't want to spend a lot of time building one specific journal. I like to bounce back and forth. And what I do like to use is old book covers. So I gut them. You just simply, depending how they're constructed, of course, I just cut them down the center here and take the guts out. And then I like to cover these. So I've had this green one sitting on my desk for a while now. It's in pretty rough shape, but I like the green color, so I think I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to just cover it up. I also like the color of the inside, so don't think I'm going to tamper with that at all. I'm just going to clean up the center here. So I like, generally speaking, like a soft pine. I'm looking at the pine color. A soft spine, not a pine. So I usually end up using several different thicknesses of paper or one piece of paper, depending what I have readily available. And then I tape it down in between, and it looks like I've done that already, but I would say quite a while ago, because this tape is starting to peel off. So let's finish this book, this cover, I should say. I'm going to use, let's see what's in frame here. This is my scrap bin of textured neutrals, and then I have a scrap bin of plain neutrals, because generally speaking, I like to work with neutrals. So I'm going to find something that might be a little interesting for the cover. This is part of that file folder we did, where we stamped all the file folder, and I love the color of the file folder, so I think I will use this. I'm filming live. Well, not live, but I'm not going to try and avoid doing a voiceover on this. So I have to cut and edit every time Millie barks. So if it has a funny cut edit video, then it's just because I've edited the video where she starts barking at a car coming by. And yeah, it's really kind of hard to do these types of videos with her now, just because she barks at everything. Oh, I forgot to cut this. That's not good. I was so excited I just put the glue down. Okay, let's figure this out real quick before this glue dries, because I want to leave an edge of green. So because I like that color green. I like the book, the old book, some old books to show through, especially if I like the color of the original hardcover. So I think that will work. So you can see I'm the kind of crafter that just wings it. It doesn't always work, but to me, it's just paper and glue. So it's nothing super duper permanent where if I screw up, I don't get too upset. I'll just start again. I'll rip it off and start again, because if I stress myself out, then I don't enjoy the process. And then there's, you know, crafters who are super diligent, and that's good too. I don't think there's a wrong or right here. You do what works for you. You know, if you're a perfectionist, then it has its flaws and it has its perks. So you can see I went crooked there, but it really doesn't bother me that much. I'm going to sand this as well. I'm going to rough it up quite a bit. So the more beaten up it looks, the happier I'll be. But I am going to cut this back a bit. I made this a little too long. So yeah, I think we all have our qualities when we're crafting. You know, we all have our style. We all have our weaknesses and strengths. And that's why YouTube is such a great place to learn something new. You know, whether it's, for me, learning, I watch YouTubers that are organizers and cleaners because I find it kind of inspires me to clean and organize myself, and they have great tips and tricks. So learning from somebody who has very different styles and techniques than you is awesome, because you really can pick up quite a lot of great ideas, and not only ideas, but ways to execute those ideas. So this time I'm actually going to cut it before I put the glue down, so I'm not quite so rushed. Yeah, I've been obsessed with these stamps in the last couple of videos. I keep cutting them with scissors, but I got a new punch. I mean, how much easier was that? And because these stamps go all different directions, I can end up flipping in this and making this the front cover if I want to. So we'll see once we're done here what I want to do. And I like to take something that has a bit of texture to it, as in the stamping has texture, the illusion of texture on the paper, so that when I put something over top to embellish the cover, it pokes through, and it kind of has this really cool visual background. So it's not just a plain paper in the background. And again, I like to expose some of this old book. Now this is a book that's been chopped in half, so it was a much longer book. Well, maybe, I don't know if it was chopped in half, but it was chopped down. So it has a rough edge here, and there's a curve at the top and no curve at the bottom. And that also doesn't bother me. Now it might be driving some of you nuts, especially this wording going all the different directions, but it doesn't bother me at all. So there's that, or there's that. I think I like the curve at the top. So we're going to go that way. So I'm going to make this my cover. And then for the binding here, for the what's it called? Spine. Yeah, my brain is slow today. I usually just like to use some tape, but I don't know what I have left. This one. And I like to use kind of, it's the kind of tape you use for bandages. Does that make sense? I thought I had another style here, but I guess I don't have any left. So I think I'll use this one, which is, this one's a bit thin. It's more of a thin mesh, which I like to use for other things. And this one's a bit thicker, which I think we should go with, just because there's a lot of movement in the spine. I want to make sure we have something that can hold up. And all I do is stick it down, flip it around, and then try go as straight as I can down to line it up with the piece on the bottom. And then I cut it. I'll do that, repeat the process. I like to cut on the inside of the book, so I go straight on the back. Now you could put something under here, of course, but if I'm going to decorate the spine, it will be on top of the tape. But I like how easy and simple this is to make. You know, and if you have a place where you can get secondhand books cheap. So my local landfill has a section where you can donate things, and a lot of books end up there. So all these ones here, I got like 10 of them, I got for free. So I just reuse them. I can cut them however I want. So free books are even better. So there we go. So basically you have a cover made. So now it's just a question of embellishing and decorating how you might like. So I'm going to start by sanding it, because I like a bit of a rough edge. Put a piece of paper down. And this is just the 150 grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to rough up the edge. Try to make it look a little grungier and older. It also hides any kind of imperfections, like if you didn't cut something as straight, which is guaranteed with me. Soften any cuts that you made with the journal. When you cut the book down, you see the rough edge from the scissors, so you can just sand that off. Any peeling paper comes off. Okay. So it just roughs it up a bit, which I like a lot. Let's move this into the garbage. Look at me trying to stay clean. It's going to last 5 minutes. So there. And this was going to be the cover, right? Yeah, because I like the curve at the top. So now we have our journal cover. So we have to make some... Sorry, I was painting last night, so my fingers are still got paint under them. It was a fusion paint, like a furniture paint, so it's really, really hard to get off. So I have these all folded from other projects. I'm hoping they will fit, but I don't think they will. I'm gonna have to chop them. Yep, but that's okay. So I'm going to just open it up in the middle and give it a chop. I'm not going to worry about it being perfect because we all know it's not something I worry about. Also, a lot of these I would fold in, you know, so for example, this guy might fold in a little bit, give it a little lip. This piece I'll cut. So you can take your time and measure these, of course, which I would recommend if you want a real professional polished finish. You know, there's no harm in taking your time with these. I just like to relax and chop paper. It's not something I spend a lot of effort in. I just want it to fit. But I mean, you can go super, super professional, have everything measured out, and maybe that's your personality. I wish I had a bit of that, actually. I'm not gonna lie. So these smaller ones I will get rid of. These scraps, they go in my never-ending pile of scraps. So then I have this here, so I think that fits, right? Oh, this has to come off. And just give it a chop. And I'll chop different, so I'll go in with my scissors a little shorter so that the pages behind might poke through, so the pages in the back come through. And we'll just make sure that all fits. So a little distance in the spine where it ties in, closing the book, and there's no exposure on any sides. So that's the size I need. So I could take a piece of paper, put it on the next one. So for example, and I mean, you can do it individual, so you can cut this really short. This I think is a fold over, so we'll cut it here. Add it to my scrap and fold it in more. I just keep going. Now, if I didn't have these signatures already, I would have obviously cut the papers down to fit a lot better before I made the signatures, but I just want to use up what I've got. I'll take this one and fold it. I'll just chop that guy off, and then we'll chop the top or the bottom. Chop a little bit higher on this one. Okay, so I'll open it up and just clean those edges. Okay. Neutral scraps go over there. Oops. Just trying to clean as I go here. Okay, so that looks good. I'll put that one back. Double check. check. Nothing needs trimming. Okay, that's good. Actually, what I should do, because I think I'm going to punch holes in here. You can tie right around. No, we'll just tie right around. That way I don't have to cut extra. Cut this guy down. That's the packaging for your creative studios that I get in the mail. And I just love the tissue paper that comes with it. It's just so pretty. And then this one, I like the edge, so I'm going to keep that. And the other stuff can probably just get chopped. Let's keep this one. This is cool. This is out of an old sketchbook that I got from the thrift shop, and it had a bunch of notes on it that they used for their sketches. So that's kind of a cool thing to have. I'm just gonna maybe chop these even a little shorter than they need to be. So you can see you go on an angle when you've got more than a little bit that you need. And I'll chop a little of this. I'm going to chop the top. So when you're cutting through several layers, it's going to be pretty much impossible to cut straight. I'll try and find the center here. It's in here somewhere. There it is. I'm just going to trim. Actually, that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. I'm going to trim this guy down a little shorter so that you can see the papers as you open the book. A signature. I think 3 is probably good for this little book if we're going to jam it full of goodies. So again, just going to double check. So there's a little overhang here, which I want to eliminate. I don't want anything hanging over. So I'm going to chop this down just a touch more. Make sure that nothing sticks out. And then I'll go through my scraps real fast. Keep anything worthy. And then we'll just ditch the rest. Because if I don't throw the stuff away, it just gets ridiculously out of control. Okay, so now I have my signatures figured out. Put these away. Do I have an elastic for these? Okay, let's put them there for now. All right. Just tidy up what I was doing here so I don't lose everything. Trying to tidy as I go because I clean up my studio and I'm trying my best to make it look good, but it's a constant work in progress. Okay, so now I have to find something for the cover. So I have a bin over here of finished works, and the bin won't fit under the camera, so I'm just going to grab a bunch and see what we might like to play with. Yeah, I got a lot. Maybe a little too much. Let's move that out of the way. So what have I got here? Is that in? I'm just going to make sure it's all in film. Okay, so now I like to pick something for the cover. So again, playing with the neutrals. I want to work with something I've already got built. These are just sketches, which I don't want to use. Also, you want to kind of pick something themed. You know, do you want to do botanical? Or are you doing like a photo book? Like what is your theme that you want to work with? And pick from something like that. Those are scraps. I don't know why those are in there. These are little snippet things. And I love these because they're so handy just to use for a background like this one, for example. That would be nice. And then finding something you want to add to it. maybe so all those mass make collections that you do, those Halloween ones, come in handy. It's kind of a cool one. It's a bit too big. I like that one. Pretty bold. Okay, let me just make sure I'm not mixing up what I've gone through and what I haven't gone through. I haven't gone through that yet. It's a nice little sketch. I've been sketching a lot lately. It's too big. These are just cuttings. Birdie's too big. These are all too big. Too big. Too big. So yeah, all these things that you make as you go, too big, come in pretty handy when you go to make a cover. I don't want to use color. Not today. Too big. So these are all my biggest ones. So these might all be too big for what we want to do. There's some smaller options in here. These are all just sketches that I do at night when I'm sitting in my bed and doodling, listening to a movie. Don't like the brown. I don't like that. Might be a bit too big. Gold, too big, too big. It's a nice little sketch. Okay, so we might just use those. Okay, so I picked a few. I do like the simplicity of that sketch. No color. So what do I want to put behind it? Just to break it up a little bit. Put the sketch in a pocket. And then put a finer, smaller sketch on top, maybe. So if I had like plain paper, I could turn this into a sketchbook, a little portable sketchbook. And of course, you can photocopy these sketches of yours, the little quickie sketches we do together. Hope you give it a try, because you know, you might surprise yourself. I get a lot of people say that they can't believe that their sketches turned out as good as they did. And you know, it's like anything, you just have to be shown. I kind of like that. Simple, elegant. Okay, let's do something like that. Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way. This is why my desk gets out of control, because I just dump stuff. I'm going to put this back in the bucket, actually. Let me just do that. Just so I'm not overwhelmed. Visually overwhelmed, and then you can't decide on anything. Oh yeah, I did these the other day too. I had some pressed leaves sitting on my desk, and I found a piece of like a laminating sheet that just sticks. So I thought I'd use it up. No. Okay, let's stick to it. Stick to it. Okay, so we can maybe use some double-sided spongy tape. That would give us some interesting thickness that we could fit quite a few things. You know what? I'd have to put a lot of things in there for that to work. Okay, we're not going to do that. So, you know what I want to do though? I want to ink. So this has what looks like corduroy maybe? Or antique linen maybe? Let's try antique linen. And my little sponge so that it just stays consistent. I'll put that around here. think I'm going to leave it pretty white in the middle because I like the contrast of the black and white paper. Well, the black ink with the white paper. Just a tad more. Okay, and I'm also going to add a little ink. I have to lift it, otherwise the camera shakes. To the edge of the book here before I glue. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. Come on. So the wider you put the glue, the smaller the pocket will get. I love those precision glue sticks, the ones that have that super narrow distributor, you know, like that. This is really, really skinny on some YouTubers. I can't find those anywhere. I can't find glue with that kind of opener on it. I don't know where they get them, but you can do some pretty precision gluing with those. I'm gonna hold that for a hot minute. Just make sure it's stuck. You just want to make sure you avoid any going over your seam there. Because this is, I think it's a watercolor paper, so it's pretty thick paper. I guess I could have cut a little pocket notch in there, but that's okay. We could put a little bit of lace on it. What have I got? Look, I even sorted out my lace, my little lace scrap buckets that I keep on my desk. Do I have anything thin? Black. Do I want to go black? A little too high contrast for me. I don't have anything really thin. I've got this. This might work. Just a little bit of texture. Maybe cut it in half so that, uh-oh, where'd it go? I lost it. Where'd our little sketch go? Oh, it's stuck to the bottom of the thing. Don't want a big crease here, so maybe just a smidge. Let's try it. Cut that a little short. Let's try it again. Okay. And then just cut it in half, or a quarter. A third, I guess that is. Put that there, just for fun, because that will also kind of fray over time, which could be fun. And then this under here. I think I like it. I'm gonna go for it. It's just like I think I got this at the dollar store. This peel and stick stuff. Right up to the end. Maybe leave a smidge of white poking through. That's fun. It's probably not a rough edge. And let's see, can this go a little further over? I think it can. Or do we want to center it on the... I think I'd like it to go right up to this. Yeah, I like that. So let's do that. So this is what I do in my studio. I just kind of sit here and talk to myself as I'm building journals, asking myself out loud, do I like that? Yeah, I do. My husband's like, who are you talking to? Oh, just me. And I answer myself. All right, let's put a little ink on this too. I'm not going to do anything else to this because I think this could be nice if someone had the journal and they could just take it and glue it into a page. if they wanted. Just gonna ink it up a smidge. And then we've built our little cover. A pretty simple cover, but elegant, I think, and effective. Kind of romantic looking, I guess you could say, without using pinks and stuff. Because I love those pink journals. They're really romantic looking journals. I like it. Okay, that's a good cover. You can always add more in there too. So now let's get our signatures in. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie them in, like I said before. I don't think I'm going to do a punch. I'm just going to tie. So tying options for me is, I love this stuff. I got it. This was full when I bought it at a thrift shop, and it has served me well. And it is a lace that is elastic. Oh, I love this stuff. I'll be heartbroken when it's all gone. So to avoid having tons of ties, what I think I will do is now condense these three signatures into two. I think that would be better. And because they're tied, you can move them around. So even when you're designing and decorating your book, you can remove these pages and restyle them inside the journal, which is always my favorite thing to do. I get nervous when I sew things in because then I feel like they're more permanent. And I'm not always ready for permanent until I know that my journal is finished. So I'm going to tie it this way to start. It's a little bit easier. And I put quite a bit of tension on. And then you can move the knot inside and trim it. You can let these dangle and tie things to them. But like I said, what's nice is you can remove these pages to work on them, to add or take some out if you feel it's getting a little bit too gator mouth. You know, it's not too late because, well, even if they're sewn in, it's not too late. I mean, it's just thread. You can always cut it. But you've gone through all that effort. It's a bummer to have to cut anything off like that. So tied in to me works great. I didn't even count the pages on the signatures because, again, if I feel it's too chunky, I can just remove it. So I'm going to go with another one. I'll be really bummed when I'm out of this elastic. Even in fabric land, when I go shopping for fabrics for stuff, I can't find anything like this. Or if I do, it's a tiny little piece and it's really expensive. All right. Okay, I'll pull that down to the bottom for now. Work my way. Oops, missed a page here. This guy's trying to escape. So let's find it. Pull him back. Okay, you can leave it on the outside edge. I'm gonna try and spin it here. I could have tied the knot a little closer to the bottom before I did that. It would have been a little easier. There we go. So I like my stuff dangling at the bottom. Woo! And then I just evenly distribute these out. And now I have my signatures inside. So for closures, I'm terrible for closures. I'm not creative when it comes to a closure. I have a hard time building something that changes the front cover that goes horizontal. And I know that sounds really weird, but it's true. So I usually end up just using another piece of this to keep it closed, at least while I'm working on the journal. Just so that if you know, there's things I want to for sure use and I want to stack them in there for later, and then I keep the whole journal and all the little bits and pieces. All the scraps, for example, that we cut off, I would keep with it. I'll just grab a few. and so that they're there ready to decorate with the journal when I'm ready to work on it. And as you can see, I have quite a few I need to work on. And then I have it all in one spot. And I basically just close it like that. And then when I'm ready to work on it or glue things in it, I'm good to go. So that's how I make my journals, generally speaking. If I'm not doing something super, super elaborate, like a lap book or something, that's how I create these. So I just go through the goodies that I've already pre-made and cover up old book journals. And I love doing it. As you can see, I have a few I need to actually finish, and I'll probably try and do that this weekend. So if the weather's miserable, like they say it's going to be, I will get cracking on that. So I hope that gives you some inspiration. I hope it gives you an idea of how to use materials and maybe, you know, in a style that is a lot more casual than you're used to, as opposed to measuring. Oh, there she goes. All right. I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for joining me today. Take care, everyone. Bye.